everyone. So today we are going to start with a chapter called Introduction to Word Processing. So let's begin with it. The proprietary and open source word processing software. Open source examples are StarOffice, LibreOffice, OpenOffice, etc. And the example of a proprietary software is called Microsoft Office. So these are the different types of word processing devices or word processing softwares which are available. They are basically categorized into two parts, that is proprietary and open source word processing. So open source is basically something that is free and can be edited time and again. Next we have word processing and a word processor. So we are going to learn about what is word processing and what is used as a word processor and what is the difference. So first of all, let's begin with the simple part of word processing, that is documents. What is a document? There are many different types of documents such as letters, reports, theses, manuscripts, legal documents, books, etc. So these are all the different types of documents that you have available, or the ones where you can work in. And then next we have word processing. What is word processing? Word processing is a creation of documents in terms of composition, editing, viewing, formatting, storing, retrieving, or printing. The definition of word processing would be that a word processor is a computer application for the production of any sort of printable material. This term was invented by IBM, and this is the official definition of a word processor. So, word processing is basically creating a document, the document that we mentioned above, editing it, making any sort of changes to it, viewing it, changing the format of the same, or any the other actions that you can do with the document. The process is called as word processing, and the computer application or the computer software which you can use to do this task is called a word processor. Now we have few more examples of word processing applications. In the late 1970s, Microsoft WordStar was the most widely used word processing software. Other word processing applications are WordPerfect and open source applications, OpenOffice Writer, LibreOffice Writer, Abbey World, K-World, and etc. Web-based word processors such as Office Web Apps or Google Docs are also relatively new software facilities. So the ones that we mentioned over here above, such as Microsoft WordStar or WordPerfect or LibreOffice or Writer, these are all computer applications which are storing data right on your computer. Whereas we also have web-based word processors which store the information on a drive or an online cloud, which means that you can access it using an email ID or a search ID from any location. And the data is basically stored online. It is not stored on your computer. However, you can change the settings and make the data be stored on your computer. Now, what is the need for word processing? Let's study about that. In the 18th century, a typewriter was invented to impress characters on a paper. As days passed, several limitations were noticed in using a typewriter. Any typing error was noticed, then to correct them, the whole sheet was required to be typed again. If we need more copies, every time the same content needs to be typed again and again. If one wants to reproduce the same document again with minor changes, the whole document was required to be typed again. For example, if you want to send the same letter to two or more persons with different addresses, we have to type the letter multiple times. It is not possible to have all the required characters or symbols on the typewriter we are using. If any particular format required that it may consume lots of time, or it may not be possible to type the document in desired format using a typewriter. So Previously, we learned all the problems that were faced when we used a typewriter. So now we have the solutions or the improvisations of a typewriter. To solve the problems with the typewriter, in the year 1974, a Xerox company introduced a new product called the electronic typewriter. Changes in the content once typed are possible with these kind of a typewriter. Multiple copies can be taken out with minor changes. Problem with this typewriter is that it has a very small sized screen, so it was only possible to view a few lines. Now, here we have the transition from an electronic typewriter to computers. In the late 70s, the limitations of electronic typewriters were replaced by computers. When we use word processor to create a document, the contents of a document is displayed on the computer screen. On the screen, we can navigate from one place to another and can make changes if required. After confirming that the content is error-free, we can also print it. Early word processors. Early word processors use tag-based markup for document formatting. A particular tag is put on both the sides of the text. For example, if some portion of the content is required to be bold, a bold tag is put on both sides of the portion. Last 2 decades, most modern word computers take advantage of a graphical user interface, provided some form of what you see is what you get, editing. Now here are some of the features of a word processor. The features of a word processor include move a selected text from one place to another within the document, copy a selected text for any number of times at any other places within the document, open more than one document at a time, or move a copy selected text from one document to any other document. Change the font size, and even the font style of the selected portion of the document. Format paragraph with word wrap. Align the paragraph as left aligned, center aligned, right aligned, or justified. Find a particular word within the document and replace the word found by another word. Check spelling and grammar. Create table. Modify the size of the selected rows, columns, or cells. Split a single cell into more than one or merge more than one cells in one. Combine one or more documents. Insert pictures or graphs within the documents. Print the selected text or selected pages of the document. Here are some of the more advanced features of a word processor, such as ones that you may not find in all word processors. These are not the common features that are like universal in all of them. Batch mailing, using a letter template and an address database, also called mail merging. Line and page numbering, footnote numbering, character count, word count, sentence count, line count, paragraph count, page count, word, sentence, and paragraph length, and also editing time. General applications of a word processor. Word processors have a variety of uses and applications within the business world, home, and education, that is, in schools and colleges. Word processors are widely used in most of the offices for preparing letters, letterheads, reports, memorandums, balance sheet reports, and many other types of documents like legal copies and reference documents. Businesses tend to have their own format and style for these documents. Business tend to have their own format and style for these documents. Apart from business, word processors are also useful at home. Many homes have word processors on their computers. Students use it for preparing project reports and assignments. It is also used for letter writing, resume creation, and card creation. Authors use word processing software for preparing articles and manuscripts of books. Researchers also use word processors for preparing theses, and teachers use it for preparing question papers or study materials and notes. So that is it for today. This is all that we are going to learn in today's lecture. I hope that you will find the time to revise all that we have studied. Have a very nice day.